Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. President of the Citadel, Lieutenant General John W. Rosa, will be offering a statement, and then he will accept questions from the media. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to acknowledge Chairman Snyder, Chairman of our board, and other board members as part of this conference. Like so many in the Lowcountry, I'm saddened and sickened that someone so close has betrayed our trust. My thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and families. As an institution responsible for delivering tomorrow's leaders, we hold the Citadel to a higher standard. We tell cadets to go beyond enforcing rules, to do what's right. We're confronted today with an investigation from 2007, which I believe we did not meet that standard. In 2007, an individual came forward with an allegation regarding inappropriate sexual behavior that happened 5 years earlier, in 2002, and which involved Skip ReVille. The individual stated that they watched pornography on ReVille's computer. They did not touch each other, but they engaged in sexual activity. As soon as this information was brought to our attention, the Citadel investigated the accusation. At the time, we took what we thought were the necessary steps. It's now clear we should have done more. The Citadel's General Counsel tried to contact the other individuals mentioned by the former camper making the accusation in order to corroborate the allegation. After initial communications were not returned, it was understood they didn't want to speak with us. However, we should have much more aggressively sought out individuals able to shed light on the incident. The General Counsel also interviewed camp staff. They were all very complimentary of Mr. ReVille, who had graduated from the Citadel in May. As a cadet, he'd been elected Honor Corps Chair, and at graduation, he received an award for excellence in public service. We checked his personnel files, and we found no other complaints. His files also included a clean background check conducted by an outside organization. And unlike the charges Mr. ReVille now faces, which the media have reported he's admitted to, back in 2007, he strongly denied the allegation. As we continued to discuss the matter with the accuser and his family, they stressed the importance of their privacy. When the family did not pursue the matter, we did not either. We should have. In processing the Freedom of Information Act that we received last Monday, documents have come to our attention in the last 72 hours, the nature of which was not shared with me and was not shared with the Board of Visitors in 2007, but which would demand action now that we reviewed them. I've directed the following. We've shared that information with the Charleston Police Department, who will make their own determination on how best to proceed. We also ask anyone who may have information regarding inappropriate behavior involving Mr. ReVille to step forward and contact the Charleston Police Department. The Citadel will also directly address media inquiries. I thank the media for their vigilance and recognize their role in protecting the rights of the community. I also realize that the Citadel has lost public trust because of this incident. In order to earn back that trust, we're making available to the media all documents relating to the incident involving Mr. ReVille, with names and personal information redacted. Additionally, the college has hired Guidepost Solutions, a New York-based company, to review all procedures that the college followed in this matter and recommend how we can improve our capacity to protect those living, learning, and working at the Citadel. Guidepost Solutions will report its findings as quickly as possible, and we will share with you how the college will act on it. When I speak to young officers, I ask them to do three things: be a person of integrity, respect themselves and others, and take responsibility for their actions. We're doing that today, and we'll continue to do that. I'll open it now for questions.
What do you have to say to the abused children and their parents about your lack of action?
I'd say we're profoundly sorry. We're sorry that we didn't pursue it more. We acted on what we thought was our best information, and then after the fact, we did not pursue it enough.
Will anybody be held accountable as far as being fired or forced to resign for this?
We're all held accountable. And part of what Global Guidepost Solutions is going to help us do is determine what actions were taken, what actions weren't, and who was accountable. We're all accountable, all of us.
To whom did this child or his parents report this abuse? To whom at the Citadel?
The call came into the President's office in April of '07, and we referred the call to our General Counsel, and that's our standard operating procedure.
Is the President's office one of the mandatory categories of educators that is required by law to report child sexual abuse?
It is now. And the way I understand the law in '06 and '07, we were not required to mandatory report. That is certainly no excuse. Regardless of whether the law said we were supposed to report or not, we should have reported this. We should have taken more action. The law has been changed. Today we are, and that's why we're standing here today.
Does the Citadel feel like that by failing to get this into the hands of law enforcement, that it is somehow responsible for what happened to other victims?
I would tell you that I believe Mr. ReVille is responsible for what happened to other victims. Only he is responsible for what he did, allegedly did. But I can tell you that by not doing enough, we play a key critical role in the events.
Is the Citadel aware of any other victims of Mr. ReVille at the Citadel during the 3 summers he was at camp council?
No, ma'am. We've checked those records, and according to our records, we have no other complaints. We have no other data. All that will be released.
Do you expect other complaints maybe to come forward now?
Absolutely. I would expect it.
Do you have any other complaints, period, about other child sexual issues, complaints that have been raised, not just about ReVille, but anyone else there?
Not that I'm aware of, and our attorney does not have them either.
General Rosa, just to be clear, did you say that you had just seen the 169-page statement in the last 48 hours?
The last 72 hours.
Last 72 hours.
That information came to us as we were preparing to release the information in the Freedom of Information Act. There are several documents that will be released. That was one that I had not seen. It was the interview, and the board had not seen.
How could that happen?
Did the Citadel see that?
How could that happen?
Did anyone see those?
That's what we've got to determine. There are several cases as you go through the process that we don't see every deposition. We rely on folks to tell us what's in those depositions and to give us professional advice.
Sir,
And that's what we've got to determine. Where did that break down?
are the same general counsel that handled this case back then still here?
He is still here, and we've employed an outside counsel that we've always had.
What were you told in terms of those depositions? If you didn't read them, what were you told at the time?
The complaint or the allegation was characterized more in terms of a settlement, that the family was not pleased with what happened. They wanted this case, their privacy protected. They didn't want to be part of the Charleston gossip, I think is what they called it. And it was characterized more as a complaint and a settlement, rather than what should have been characterized, in my mind, having read that interview, much differently.
Who characterized that way to you, since you didn't actually see the actual document?
Our attorney.
General, also, we were told that you were made aware of this directly. Were you told specifically about these allegations? Were you a part of a meeting regarding these allegations in any way, as well as general counsel?
In 2007, the allegation came to my office, so I was aware of the allegation in April of 2007. Where we've got to figure out where it broke down is we went and interviewed, the attorney went and interviewed the family. And in those discussions, we went back and forth, talking to the family, and at some point in time, the communication broke down. We quit talking to them, they quit talking to us. It was our responsibility to close this case. It's not their responsibility, it was our responsibility. And if there was misunderstanding, that's what we've got to find out. But I was briefed on the deposition, not on the deposition, but I was briefed on the current status, I guess, as you go along in the summer of, the interview was done in July of '07. And the board and I were briefed, I believe, in September.
And nobody, you or anyone on the board, asked to see the actual deposition? I mean, it seems like if this is the only case like this, it seems like something you want to...
We have several cases with depositions. This is not the only case with depositions. We did not ask specifically to see this deposition.
General, who told you that as an educator, you weren't subject to the mandatory reporting requirement?
No, nobody told me that. That's what our attorney has said that the law said at the time. We're certainly not using that as any excuse. This should have been reported.
You were subject to another child molestation case in 2003 that was settled. Can you tell us about that, and could you tell us how much it was settled for and what it involved?
That case was settled as, that case and this case happened many years before I came here. That case that you're talking about, I believe, was the Mr. Arpaio case that was settled, I would suspect, in early to mid-2006. I don't know the details of that case.
Where are the details of that case in the case file? That's a,
We did not investigate that
that's
case.
a Marine officer,
Yes,
so that's
yes.
a court-martial.
Yeah, he was court-martialed.
What
We did not
about the
investigate.
the settlement? We understand
The settlement,
this.
can anybody help me with the, I think the school,
In
we'd have to get those numbers back to you. I think the school paid $500,000 and the insurance refund paid 3.8.
And the camp was closed the year after, or the same year?
The camp was modified in 2006. I came in January of 2006. The camp was modified as a result of what the board had found out on that case. It was modified and then permanently closed in 2007.
How did you personally hear of the current Skip ReVille case? Where were you? Did you hear from your staff or through the media? And what was
I think
the
the first
reaction?
time I heard of it was from media.
What was your reaction? Did you remember this guy?
I did not remember. No, I didn't remember him by name, and I didn't recognize him.
So no one's been placed on administrative leave, no one's been suspended, you have people.
We're early on in this case. We're 72 hours into finding new information. We'll handle this swiftly, and we'll handle this in conjunction with our team.
This is
And
in
General
court.
Rosa, was there-
We're all looking at our actions.
All right, we're going to take a couple more questions. Thank you.
Carolyn?
There was no concern when this happened. I'm sure there was concern on your part, but no one felt inclined to contact police officers at any time during the course of these disturbing conversations with someone alleging something so heinous. No one felt compelled to talk to law enforcement about it.
It
And
wasn't-
also, an outside investigative authority, that was never a consideration?
The way the case was portrayed to us was not criminal in nature. It was not portrayed, in our mind, what we know now. It was portrayed as a settlement case. There was no touching. If you look by the letter of the law, we should have done it. That's what we said. We didn't consider an outside investigation because we thought we were handling the family's needs. We thought we were communicating what they wanted, how they wanted it. Hindsight, looking back, we didn't communicate well. That was our fault.
Showing
General
the
Rosa,
new
information
child.
you said that you're going to be releasing tomorrow. Tell me the new details.
There's no new information. That information, all the FOIA information will be released today.
General Rosa, the Mullins and McLeod said the family asked the Citadel specifically to make sure Skip ReVille does not do this to any other kids. Do you remember that, and do you think the Citadel fulfilled that
No,
request?
I did not, Jeff. I did not know that until I read the document Friday night.
What do you call a settlement case? Can you define that?
Well, it was an issue where the young man wanted to come to the Citadel. He didn't have his qualifications. He'd had some issues in school, and so we were going to help him complete the courses he needed. We do this all the time. We were going to help him complete the courses, recommend the courses that he needed to take to come into school. We made that recommendation, and that's where we never heard from the family again. That was our fault. We should have gone back to make sure that we closed this out, and they understood what we were doing, and we should have understood what they expected. We didn't do that.
All right, thank you all. We'll be available one-on-one in the lobby outside. Thank you.